How about now? Can you hear me? Should be working now. Hello. Yeah, I think you can hear me. So thank you for feedback. And yeah, so why do you need to merge skeletons? Mostly you might two animators working on the same project, and you might need to merge two animations, take from your colleague and merge it. So this is the first case. The second would be to use your own animations or other animations, like reuse a portion of it. Maybe you have VFX like explosion and you don't want to make it from scratch, and you want to import all that structure and also the animation and merge that inside your current project and in animation. And the other useful thing is when you have a character, for example, I used it a lot, and you have a big character and the same character with the same animations, but in smaller. I mean, the proportions are smaller, so it's the type of the baby character. So the animation are the same, skeleton structure is the same, but it's a little bit, proportions are not there. So you would import animations, adjust the proportions, and at the end, yeah, that would be it. So let's start from importing the one animation from other skeleton. So this is our character, it's example character, and let's assume, for example, that animation, we don't have that, and we want to import that animation from itself. So let's assume we have another animation. So for that, you go to import project, you go Spineboy Pro. This is the project I am right now using, skeletons. Oh, sorry, I should have clicked. You should be able to hear me, Angel Perez. Let me know if you are still not hearing. So you go here, import project, and hit animation. In this scenario, you only importing animations and nothing more. So you select the project where from which you want, and where the skeleton which you want the animation, and the skeleton where you want to place. And yeah, let's import that, and we have that animation without any problem. So problems might occur if the structure here in the tree is a little bit different, and or naming is different or anything. So in that case, you need to make sure that whatever you want to introduce to import, you need to make sure that that structure is perfectly matching. And don't worry if you have added a few more bones, as long as they don't conflict with the current structure, like the structure, things will go well. The naming and the structure should be the same. So I would still be able to import it. And right now when I import it, I will have the death animation, and it would say that there is a death animation, so it will create death 2. This is, so you can see we didn't have problem with the bones. But if we change or remove one bone, it would say, hey, there is a problem. But it will continue to import it. So except these 3 bones won't be imported. Of course, there is no that 3 bones. So we have that tree, which has all the same animation, just the 3 bones wasn't be able to be imported. And yeah, now let's assume like practical case. So this is how it works. First, you need to make sure the structure is the same, names are the same, and then import animation. And now let's see how, when, and why we should use it. So let's assume we have this background and we have these torches here. So I already have made a similar animation. I mean, exactly the same. The client asks the same torches to be, the same fires to be here. So to avoid remaking it, spending a lot of time, why wouldn't I just go ahead and just copy this whole structure? So let's do it. I will come here, import a project. This time we don't need the spine boy. Instead, I will select that background which you have seen right now, which is not that easy to find with these big icons here. So it should be, yeah, this one. Okay, so I'm importing animation from here, but there is no that structure, so animation won't be imported because I don't have those bones for the fire, for the torch. So for that, I still need to import the skeleton. This skeleton will be imported and animations will work perfectly, but we will have two skeletons, which we don't want. So we want this to be imported. But the moment when you drag it to the other skeleton, it will go perfectly fine here, but it won't be animatable. So animations are not coming actually. So now let's see where it actually lays. It is inside container bone. And yeah, this one. So let's drag it inside this skeleton and make sure we also create a bone like container. Otherwise, it won't be able to find it. And put it here. Now I don't actually need this skeleton anymore. I need to just import project. And this time, here is the fire, by the way. So let's move it here. And now I will import the project again, but animation this time. So let's try combined. And we have a lot of problems here. Let me check. This is totally fine because I only need that fire animation. So a lot of bones that are inside that animation, we don't have it here. So let's see if the fire actually came. And yeah, it perfectly came without problem. You just need to make sure that that fire actually, the sequence exists in the new project. So in that case, we won't have problem, because importing the skeleton, importing the animations doesn't mean that images will come with it. So you need to make sure that images are manually brought here. So this is basically the case with that. And now let's shortly see what problems we might have with that. So for example, if you do some deform meshes, like animation with deform meshes, and then want to import that mesh, the moment when you drag that mesh inside a new skeleton, the order of vertices is changing. It's like randomly distributed different way. So whenever you import the new animation, it will break. So this is some kind of conflicts that I don't know how to fix. So again, if you have deform keys animated in A project and you want to import that animation into B project, you drag that mesh into the B project and import the animation as we just did. Things will break because when you drag this mesh into B project, it will change its order of vertices. While in deform keys, which actually holds all animations considering the order of the vertices. So that's not gonna work. The other thing that you might face with this kind of thing as a workflow is sometimes when you import the animation, you might not notice that you have similar the bones with same name, the structure but you don't need that. So imagine I import a structure like the rig, and it has animation for shadow slot. It goes there, but the shadow slot that I have in my project is totally for different object, like from the other project. So that will actually apply that animation to that shadow instead of actually doing that in for that character. So that was confusing. Let me try to explain. Let's assume I have this as fog. Let's simplify things. Fog. I try to make my point very clear. So this is the fog I have. When I want to import another animation for this fog, and this fog is like different name, fog blue, I import animation, but that animation contains keys for the slot that has fog name. So that will come and apply not to this one, but this one, which I clearly don't want. This is pretty okay. I'm very fine with that. So yeah, that would be the problem. It will come here and find a slot named with fog, which was this one in previous project, but instead it will apply this one because this is the right now the named fog. Okay, so this is about the skeleton merging. Now let's see. Okay, so the next approach, next use case for merging skeletons is when you are working with multiple animators. So what I had in my experience is one of them is carrying the master rig. So he's working on the rig, only he or she. So they're working on that master rig, and every other animator just works on their own animation. So everyone has like single animation, and you should try to not conflict like two animators work on the one animation. So better if one animator carries one animation and only one of them is responsible for the master rig. So he does the all merging, he does the all adjustments, but sometimes animators might need to alter the rig. So you need to understand that those fixes will not be imported in the spine automatically, like when you import animation. So you need to make sure whatever you change to write down them as an animator and transfer that information to the rigger, the master rigger who is responsible for merging. And he will like import that structure or replicate that, like re-rig that section. Maybe you have a box that needs to jump. Maybe you have a ball that needs to squash, and that squashing rig is not there. So you create two bones for that, animate it nicely, and then say, hey, we have this ball. Just make sure you have these two bones, and he will take care of that two bones and then import the animation. So this is the other option, use case for skeleton merging. And let's see what I have. Yeah, this is basically it about the merging skeletons. So you go here, import project, not import data, but import project, and then first, if you have the structure in your project, you just go ahead and import animation. But if you don't have the structure and you want to bring it with the structure, you first import the skeleton, move that structure inside the new project, make sure that it has the same tree hierarchy, and then import the project again, select the animation. In that case, it will actually apply to those animations. So yeah, if you have any questions about this, let me know. This stream is not going to last long, so I will check if I have more tips, general tips for you, and answer your questions if you have, and we will close this stream, I guess. I hope I covered most of the things. Okay, I have some general tips that I note in my textbook, so I share it whenever I can. And let's see if I can do it now, few of them. So I will start from Photoshop. Let's close this one. I will open this project. I love this project. So whenever you export from Photoshop, you work in Photoshop, make sure you use this scale tag, which you can find information about it in the help. Where is it? Okay, it should be somewhere here. So scale and the number. I don't know if you see it, but it's basically like this. Let's change the color. So yeah, add this tag near the layers where they need to be smaller. For example, this is the glow, the light glow, which clearly can be smaller in image size. So later it will be resized in spine. You don't worry about that. But if you mark it scale 0.3, it will reduce its size 3 times. It won't be noticeable in the game. Don't worry about that. So similarly, we have another fog here. And yeah, you can see that scale tag. So always make sure to use this scale, because make it a habit to work with the images, initially resize them if you can. And yeah, the next thing I would like to share you, always make these guidelines before you drag this origin point. This origin point is being used in spine as a root coordinate. This is great because if you don't use these guidelines, next time you open Photoshop, you won't be able to remember where it was. So re-exporting from Photoshop will take it to different places and you won't be able to perfectly match it. And yeah, about the Photoshop, when you import this character, this from Photoshop, make sure to not move them in spine. Like this should be precisely fixed in spine. I mean, you move in animate mode, whatever you want to do, but keep everything as is in Photoshop. So maybe you imported a character here and you move it up or there, but next time you want to fix that on that character, it will actually go on the original place, and while you already moved the character, so it won't position properly. So after importing into spine, don't change position, don't change sizes. If you want to change them, do it in animation mode. So that's another advice. And about the rig, I would like to just share feedback about how to rig it, I guess. So how you basically rig, how I would suggest you to rig a character. When you receive a character and you want to rig it, don't spend all of your energy in that day on the rig and making some kind of master rig, like super complex, and showcase your skills with constraints, with path constraints, everything. Keep it simple, keep it very basic, functional. So with that, you can actually jump into animation. So you have like 100 points of energy, you spend 20 or 40 on that rig, and then you have like noticeable amount to spend on the animation. Otherwise, you will not have energy to do that animation today. What you need to do first is to solve animation, to do one complex animation that will give you a confidence. Let me make my face bigger. So that will give you confidence that you can solve this project. It's not going to be that hard. So when once you do one complex animation, after that you can come back and adjust the rig, maybe add some few pieces. So for example, I would not rig the face right away. I would not rig the fingers right away. I would rig the legs, eye key, chest, arms, and then go away right away and do that animation. It shouldn't be like complex, but just start one animation so you see how it works, and then rig will come layer by layer once you need it, because sometimes you do the animation and you are so happy with that, actually you think, hey, why would I even rig the face like in a complex 3D? Let's just add a bone on the nose and move the face like circular motion. So don't overthink when you are rigging. Make it simple. Okay, what else I can share with you? I don't want to load you with a lot of information right now. Okay, let me share with you last shortcut, and then maybe we will close this stream. So we all might know that we have Control Shift and L key, which is which is keying all the timelines that are existing in that selection. So you saw that I keyed like rotation, translation, and yeah, not the scale or shearing, because we didn't have that here. The moment I come here and select the scale, if I come here and hit Control Shift L, it will also key that translate, the scale key. So this is super useful, but what if we want to key that setup pose and not that the one that we have here? So for that, use Control Shift J, and that will actually place that setup pose. So let's assume we move the bone here and we are animating it here, but and this frame I want to use the setup pose. Control Shift J, and boom, it will jump back. And again, it uses only the timelines where which ones are being used here and not the other ones. And yeah, so this would be it for the stream. Let me know if you have questions. I will be closing it briefly. And thank you for joining. I'm going to create a poll in a moment, so make sure you are there to vote for it about what we will do in the next video. And I think I will create a short video, super short, maybe add it as a shorts in YouTube, where I will just do this importing thing and explain there, because nobody wants to watch long streams just for a simple trick. Cool.